No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for January 29th, 2024, coming off the Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Now, we had a little twist just at the start of the road to WrestleMania because CM Punk was injured at the Rumble. Punk has suffered a torn triceps, and that means he will be out of action for a good 5 to 6 months. He is going to miss a sizable chunk of 2024, including WrestleMania. Really sucks. Terrible news here for CM Punk right at the start of his big comeback in WWE. Now, before we get to Punk, we kicked off Raw with a video package from the Royal Rumble, and then we had an appearance from Pat McAfee. Good news here. We do have some good news. Pat McAfee is officially back on a weekly basis. He will be doing Raw play-by-play commentary with Michael Cole every week now, at least for the immediate future. To me, that will make Raw a lot more watchable. Pat McAfee, in my opinion, best color commentator in a long time. He always adds a lot of excitement to the show. Great to have him back. Huge positive, something I've been waiting for quite some time. And I presume this hasn't been confirmed, but I would think that on SmackDown it will be Corey Graves and Wade Barrett doing the commentary. Now, we had CM Punk come into the ring for a promo. His right arm was in a sling. He looked at the sign, the WrestleMania sign. It was very depressing to see this. You could feel the emotion in CM Punk's face. He talked about how he came real close to winning the Royal Rumble. He congratulated Cody, hopes Cody finishes the story. Punk said that he feels unlucky for himself personally because of the injury. He said maybe WrestleMania, main eventing it, it's just not in the cards. But then he brought up the struggles that people go through. He brought up a friend of his going through cancer. And Punk said that maybe his injury, when you look at it from a different perspective, it's just a flesh wound. He said that he has suffered loss before and setbacks. He actually brought up his UFC run. He has more losses than wins, but God damn it, he has a dream. WrestleMania is a goal. It may haunt him for the rest of his life, but he considers the injury a bump in the road. And he said that he will overcome it. He will be back. And just like with the Chicago Cubs, there's always next year. At this point, Drew McIntyre showed up and at first acted like he was sympathetic, said that he can relate to Punk, but then said that he prayed for Punk to get injured. And he actually slept like a baby knowing that Punk was hurt. McIntyre said he is going to find a way to get into the WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins, and he will live Punk's dream again. Punk responded by saying he is going to rehab. He will come back. He will main event WrestleMania. But when he comes back, the first order of business will be to take out Drew McIntyre. McIntyre responded by trying to take a cheap shot at CM Punk. Punk managed to fight back. McIntyre got the upper hand, though. Punk was injured, could only do so much. Glasgow kiss, and then that son of a bitch, Drew McIntyre, stomped on the arm of CM Punk to further his injury. Sami Zayn ran down to make the save. You had officials out there, and the main event match was officially set up. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Great angle here. WWE making the most of a very bad situation with CM Punk being injured. McIntyre gets some points as a heel, gets to do this angle, and I would presume he is staying with WWE if I had to make a prediction. Like he's got a spot now as the top heel, and he has a feud with CM Punk when Punk returns. I just hope that Punk can actually do it, you know? This was one of the things we feared with CM Punk. You know, people were talking about, would CM Punk last 6 months? Either he would have a backstage issue with somebody, or he would get injured. Keep in mind, Punk was injured twice in AEW. This is another tricep injury, not the first one he's had. He had one in AEW. He can come back, but I don't know how much time he has left. I don't know what else he can do, not just long term, but part-time as well. How many more matches can CM Punk do? It's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle for him, but I'm pulling for CM Punk. I want to see him come back and finish this run, get a big WrestleMania match, and call it a career. Best of luck to him with his recovery. Hamp Connell sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I don't hate watch WWE. It will always be something I love. I remember when it was must-see TV, and I hope that it will be that way again. I love giving my opinion, and this is the best place to do it. And we all want to see WWE at its best. It's not going to be the way it was before. The wrestling business is always evolving, and the show changes, and what people want to see changes. But I do understand where you're coming from. Like, I definitely want to see Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, and even Collision to be the best shows possible. And I want them to feel like must-see TV. And it's tough, you know, in their defense, when you have 5 hours of television to produce every single week, it's hard to keep it exciting and fresh. Best thing they can try to do is think outside the box as much as possible, try different things, keep bringing in new characters and developing storylines that are unique, and giving wrestlers the chance to go out there and put on the best matches possible, and giving them creativity so they can do different things with their character. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play here, but I do think WWE has overall put on a much better product than what they were doing 4 or 5 years ago before the pandemic, and even 2021 and early 2022. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I'm convinced it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Well, we've already seen that. That's the only issue. We had Rollins versus McIntyre multiple times. It's hard to say at this point what they're going to do because of Punk's injury. Like, what about Elimination Chamber? Seth Rollins is hurt. Punk is hurt. Gunther is still dealing with travel issues, so he cannot go to Australia and potentially win Elimination Chamber and be the number one contender. So it's a mess right now, a little bit, to say the least. WWE has some time, though, but with Chamber, they got to figure something out. And I presume Seth Rollins will be good to go for WrestleMania. And more on Seth Rollins here in just a few moments. We had our first match of the evening. By the way, the first hour was commercial free. We had DIY challenging Judgment Day for the tag team titles. Before the match, DIY cut a promo talking about how they were waiting 7 years to win the titles. They had a strong start, but then Judgment Day took control for a while. Eventually, Gargano got a hot tag. Ciampa came in. Things started to break down. Ciampa hit an air raid crash to Balor, but Balor kicked out. And then they did the meeting in the middle to Balor. Priest put Balor's foot under the rope to save him. And then Balor regained his composure, went for the coup de grace, but Gargano avoided it. Gargano and Ciampa put on double submissions, but Priest was able to power out of it, and he slammed Ciampa onto Gargano. Crowd was loving this. They were chanting, "This is awesome." And then Priest took Gargano, gave him the flatliner on the announce table. Ciampa rolled up Priest in the ring, but Priest kicked out. And then Priest was able to deliver the razor's edge to Ciampa, and Balor came off the top with the coup de grace, got the 1-2-3 victory to retain the tag team titles. Really good match here with these guys. A clean finish for the champions. No shenanigans or outside interference. I liked it. I feel bad that DIY, they didn't get the titles, but it was a very strong match, and we had no commercial interruptions. Felt like it could have been on a pay-per-view. Now, Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. It says, today in history in 2006, Rey Mysterio wins the Royal Rumble, eliminating Randy Orton in what is probably the most divisive win in history. I was not the biggest fan of that. I know they were going with the sympathy over Eddie Guerrero's death, but I kind of felt like they were exploiting Eddie Guerrero with the Rey Mysterio win. And Rey won the title, and then they booked him like a complete joke as champion. So, yeah, that whole run wasn't my favorite. Rage of Wrestling sent in a $2 super chat. Walter Cruz, thank you for that. Says, awesome truth, new champions at Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania? We will see. Let's get to that. After the match, we had Damian Priest and Judgment Day in the ring. They invited R-Truth to the ring. R-Truth was a little hesitant, but Priest promised that he would not hurt R-Truth. So R-Truth got into the ring, and Damian Priest allowed Truth to say the line, "Please rise for the Judgment Day." And Truth even got to talk a little bit. We got some comedy. He talked about J.D. McDonough being the stepdad that nobody wants to deal with, or the stepbrother, whatever it was. And then Priest said that Truth is not going to be part of the crew. He never was part of the crew. He never will be. And he's not going to be the one to do what needs to be done. And at that point, J.D. McDonough attacked R-Truth. They beat him up as Damian Priest watched. The Miz came down to try to help his awesome Truth friend, but the numbers overwhelmed him. So now the question is, could Awesome Truth potentially become the tag team champions? Anything's possible. R-Truth is on a bit of a hot streak right now, even though he's a comedy act. People love R-Truth, and the Miz has gotten over as a babyface. So at the very least, I mean, I definitely see them getting a tag title opportunity, but I don't know if they're actually going to win the titles. Maybe Elimination Chamber tag title match. Never say never, though, as far as a title change goes. But one would think that Priest and Balor are going to drop the titles before WrestleMania so Priest can focus on cashing in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, which maybe he cashes in sooner. Who knows at this point with all the injuries. We had Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Basic tag team match here. Zoe and Shayna got the win fairly easily. Zoe pinned Chelsea with the Z360, setting up Zoe and Shayna for a potential tag team title match. Not much to say about it. And that was the first hour of Raw. It was a very good first hour. I really enjoyed it. We had Cody Rhodes come into the ring for a promo to celebrate his Royal Rumble victory. The crowd chanted, "You deserve it." He had Samantha Irving repeat the introduction, which she happily did. And then he said he was there to make WrestleMania official, but Seth freaking Rollins interrupted. Rollins came out there, and Rollins wanted to make a hard sell. Rollins said Cody is making a mistake if he chooses Roman Reigns. He wanted the people and Cody to hear him out. The crowd was like, no. They clearly did not want this. They want Cody versus Roman Reigns. But Seth gave the hard sell. He said Roman Reigns is not even the guy anymore. Cody's not the guy. Rollins is the guy. The title is the title. The World Heavyweight Championship. Rollins has been going from city to city defending the title, traveling on the road with Cody, and making the title the workhorse title. Roman Reigns, on the other hand, barely shows up anymore. He cheats to win, as Rollins pointed out. The World Heavyweight title is for them. Rollins has been fighting with a broken back. He blew out his knee defending the title. And he asked Cody the question, which title does Cody want? Does he want the Hollywood title, the Hulk Hogan title, the title that people politic for? Or does he want the Dusty Rhodes title, the Workhorse Championship? He told Cody doesn't need to answer right away. Cody can think about it. Cody responded by saying that he did not wake up expecting to be considering this, but he did tell Seth Rollins that he will think about it. And then he took his leave. I thought this was a great segment. Seth Rollins did a fantastic job with the hard sell. And even though I still think it's Cody versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I like that they're putting a twist in the story. Now you wonder, well, maybe it will be Cody versus Seth Rollins. Maybe The Rock is going to face Roman Reigns. I like how they're keeping us guessing, and even Hamp agrees. He's positive about this. So there you go. You know, when Hamp liked it, it was a good segment. Love you, Hamp. I still think it's just a red herring. We got 2 months until WrestleMania, so you need to have some twists and turns here, and especially with Seth Rollins hurt. I really liked this. I thought this was a very strong segment to keep you intrigued as a viewer as to where it might go. We had Kofi Kingston cutting a promo to hype up his Intercontinental title opportunity against Gunther. Said that people think about the pancakes and all the jokes, but at the end of the day, the New Day, they win championships. We had a Braun Breaker video package, and then we had Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. Good match here with these guys, back and forth. Bronson dominated a good part of it. Jey made a comeback, did some kicks. Crowd was chanting yeet. Reed was able to avoid the Uso splash, but then he went for the tsunami, and Jey avoided that. Jey hit a spear and then came off the top with the Uso splash and got the win. So they're clearly building up Jey. Maybe Jey gets an Intercontinental title opportunity at some point, but I'm still thinking it's Jey versus Jimmy at WrestleMania, and that's going to be one of the key matches, especially now with CM Punk hurt. We had an Andrade video package. Andrade is back in WWE, and he signed the contract for Monday Night Raw backstage with Adam Pearce. Nick Aldis was there and was a little upset that Andrade didn't hear him out. I guess Adam Pearce must have made a really good deal. And then they were going to talk about Elimination Chamber, but Nick Aldis got a phone call. And that phone call was from Braun Breaker. So the plot thickens here. I thought Braun was going to be on Raw, which I really think he should, because I could see Braun dethroning Gunther, and they already teased Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio and maybe other members of Judgment Day. So I ultimately think Braun would be better on Raw. If he goes to SmackDown, like, even though it's a 2-hour show, I feel like he would get lost in the shuffle more. I don't know about Big E. Big E's still out of action, but if Big E can come back, I'd love to see him go after Gunther. We had Becky Lynch cutting a backstage promo, and she was asked about what her plan B is. Becky said that she let herself and the people down, but her plan B is she's not going to give up, and she is going to find a way to get her championship opportunity. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. Says, here's an idea. Have Damian Priest come out and announce that he's cashing in at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, getting the night one main event. You know what? If all else fails, that's a very solid idea. Like, we don't see that too often, where the Money in the Bank holder announces in advance when they're cashing in. And Priest can say, hey, I want the night one main event. I want the world title match at WrestleMania. I want that spot, that big payday at WrestleMania, the Super Bowl of wrestling. So I actually like that idea a lot. Like, if they're doing this storyline and Cody picks Roman Reigns, then Damian Priest can come out there and say, Seth, you need an opponent? I'm cashing it in at WrestleMania. You got your opponent. Priest is a heel, though, so he very well may just cheat, or knowing WWE, even in the new era, he might not even cash in at WrestleMania, and that this thing may run out at the end, and he doesn't even cash in at all. Like, they might do something ridiculous. It's WWE, so you never know. But I like the idea of him actually just saying, I want the WrestleMania main event. I'm cashing it in at WrestleMania. We had people were convinced that he's not doing it because he's a heel. But you know what? Because of the circumstances, they might go with it. I would not rule it out. We had Kofi Kingston and Gunther for the Intercontinental title. For the longest time, Gunther was in control. He was dominating Kofi, but Kofi stayed in the fight, and Kofi managed to get back in it. Gunther tried to finish off Kofi Kingston with a power bomb on the outside, but Kofi countered it. Gunther went into the ring post, and Kofi got him back in the ring, hit the tip, the Trouble in Paradise, but Gunther rolled back out of the ring. Kofi got him back in the ring, came off the top with an SOS, or not an SOS, the boom drop, and Gunther kicked out of that. Gunther got hit with the SOS, kicked out again. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And then Gunther finally got the win, clotheslined Kofi, drop kick in the corner, and then the power bomb. Yeah, it was a very good match here. Kofi looked strong as a challenger, and Gunther picks up yet another win against a former WWE champion. We had Vinci and Kaiser from Imperium attacking Kofi after the match. Xavier Woods came out there and he got beat up as well. This would be, if the stars aligned and he could do it, man, this would be a great opportunity for Big E to come back. I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I hope it does one day, but I want it to be when he's healthy to do it. It would be really cool to see him come back and feud with Imperium. We had Sami Zayn interviewed backstage and said that Drew McIntyre needs a reality check. We then had the Kabuki Warriors going up against Natalya and Tegan Nox in a non-title match. Remember, Kabuki Warriors are the new champions. And it was a basic match. There was a little bit of a miscommunication. Natalya wanted a tag from Tegan, but Tegan jumped off the apron and went after Kairi Sane instead. And in the end, Asuka was able to avoid the sharpshooter from Natalya, and she knocked her down with a kick. And then Kairi Sane tagged in, came off the top with the insane elbow, and the champs got the win. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, why not Seth Rollins versus John Cena with Cena going for the record? I mean, if John Cena can do it in a short amount of time and, he doesn't have any other commitments, which I'm not sure what his schedule is like right now. If it was possible, that's an idea. John Cena going for the record. In case of emergency, break glass, bring in John Cena. But if he's got a big commitment with a movie or something, that might not be even possible at this point. I think John Cena said something like where he was going to try to be at WrestleMania, but no promises. And that was probably just a special appearance, not actually doing a main event match at the show. We had a little backstage promo with Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, the Ravers. They are going to get their rematch next week. They'll lose, but there you go. We got a match for next week. We had Bayley coming into the ring to celebrate with Damage Control. She gloated how they made history. Rumble winner, women's tag team champions, and women's world champion all in the ring at the same time. And she bragged about beating Rhea Ripley's record for having the longest time in the Rumble for a women's Rumble. At this point, our champion, Rhea Ripley, came down and said the only reason Bayley broke the record is because Rhea wasn't in the match. All of a sudden, Nia Jax attacked Rhea Ripley and left her laying with multiple leg drops and then came off the top with the Annihilator. Nia went over to Bayley, got on the mic, and said that Rhea Ripley might not even make it to WrestleMania. And then Bayley, who was very intimidated, said she'll make her announcement on Friday's edition of SmackDown. Good segment here, and they're clearly setting up Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax for Australia. And I presume Rhea Ripley is going to be a major babyface in her home country. Still nothing about the chamber matches, though. And again, because of all the last-minute changes here, who knows what's going down for the chamber. We had our main event, which was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. In our main event, another good match on the show. Back and forth here. Sami Zayn held his own against Drew McIntyre despite being the underdog. One of the issues that McIntyre had was Pat McAfee. He was yelling at McAfee, and Zayn was able to take advantage of that. Zayn hit several moves, He did this sunset flip power bomb, tornado DDT. McIntyre kicked out of both of those, and then McIntyre had the upper hand for a while. Then they were both on the top, and Zayn gave McIntyre a superplex. He hit the Blue Thunder Bomb after trying to hit it a couple of times. Of course, McIntyre kicked out, but the crowd did bust out a "This is awesome" chant. I think 3 matches on this show got a "This is awesome" chant. You know, that doesn't happen too often. And then McIntyre hit an avalanche white noise. Zayn kicked out of that. McIntyre started trash talking, but Zayn kept fighting, and then Zayn went for the haluva kick. McIntyre put his hands up, and I guess whether it was intentional or not, the announcers definitely teased it could have been an accident. Maybe it wasn't, but Zayn ended up getting hit low when he went for that haluva kick. Inadvertent low blow, or maybe it wasn't. McIntyre took advantage regardless, hit the Claymore, and got the 1-2-3 victory. No post-match angle, no cliffhanger or anything. McIntyre just celebrated, and that was the end of the show. It was a very good Raw. They had to make some adjustments because of the situation with CM Punk, but I think they did a very good job of taking a bad situation and making the most of it. We don't know what's going on with Elimination Chamber, but I don't blame them for that. They could have announced more for next week, but they didn't, other than the tag team title match. I give the show a B+. I thought it was a very good Raw. You had some strong matches on the show. The CM Punk stuff was handled well. I liked the Damage Control segment. I really liked the Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes segment. So definitely a thumbs up show this week from WWE. There you go. There's the thumbs up. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, how about Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, where he wins, but Priest then cashes in on Randy, and Priest gets the world title while Randy becomes a 15-time champion. Randy Orton is on SmackDown, but the thing is, WWE can always make adjustments here because of the injuries. Like if they need somebody on Raw from SmackDown, they can come up with an angle. I mean, they do have possibilities. Regardless of who Seth Rollins faces, it'll be a great match. They'll do some great promos. They'll make it good. I'm bummed out about CM Punk, but things happen. I just hope he can come back from this, because another torn triceps injury. I mean, if you guys remember the Patriot, Del Wilkes from the 90s, I think he suffered multiple torn tricep injuries. And, you know, after the same injury multiple times, it basically ended his career. And CM Punk is, what, 45, 46 now? I just don't know if he can come back and have even a part-time run. Like, it's questionable. I hope he can. I really want to see CM Punk come back and have a nice, solid end to his career. Maybe have 1 or 2 more good feuds and close out his career at WrestleMania in a main event spot. I hope he can pull it off. I am a little bit nervous for him, though, but hoping for the best. CM Punk, all-time great. And, you know, to come back and get injured right away, it just sucks. No other way to put it. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video and the live stream. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and spread the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Have a great week, everyone. Stay tuned to No DQ. I mean, last week and even today, it's been very newsworthy in wrestling, and who knows what else is going to happen later this week. NoDQ.com will keep you updated. Take care, everybody, and say yes to NoDQ.com. I'll see you all next time.